Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know It, the News You Trust studio, sponsored by the Family Forest Carbon Program, where we help family forest owners get paid to improve the health of their woods. Let's check in now with Alexis White. She's one of the first FFA reporters to talk to the new FFA state president.
Joining me today is new state president Carter Boyd at the 97th Ohio FFA State Convention. So Carter, what inspired you to apply for this position?
Anyone that knows me will tell you that I'm like a very competitive person. And initially when I first got state officer as a vice president this year, I was always kind of the mindset that, it was something that I would run for president right off the bat. Like I knew that I'd run for president and kind of try and continue that. Of the many things I've learned this year, I've quickly learned that's not how that decision should be made in the right way. So the way my decision was kind of made was at National Convention this year, and with my team, of course, doing all the delegate things and spending a little bit of time away from my home chapter, which was a little weird as a senior and still active chapter president. I think it was a Thursday morning of National Convention. I went up to my home chapter to go say hi to them, sit with them for a little bit, fully expecting to see exciting pictures, all the things they'd bought, all these different stories they had to share with me. And I was actually met with the news that my great-grandpa had passed away that morning. And obviously that's never news you want to hear, especially at a national convention. On my way back to the hotel after that session, I ran into a couple FFA chapters that I visited just a few weeks prior, and they had no idea what I was going through, but they just talked to me and showed me all the things they'd bought, all the things they'd done, and it just uplifted me in that hard moment. I found myself smiling ear to ear, and that was the moment for me where I realized how much the members have done for me and truly walked with me when I needed it most. That led to my decision to run for Ohio FFA president in order for me to give back and support them in the ways they have done for me.
Leading up to this difficult decision, how has this past year in FFA as a state officer changed you as a person?
And in so many ways you don't think about, too, when you're first kind of sitting down and putting together the reasons you want to run for a state officer position. Some of the biggest ways and that I've seen, both in me personally and with my friends and family around me, that I've seen change has been most prominently in my emotional, empathetic side. Just being able to kind of relate to emotions more, be in touch more with my emotions, which I think really translates to, being a good servant leader and really just a good person when working with other people, is being in touch with your emotions and understanding where other people are coming from and trying to value that as well. So that's something that I've been excited to work with a little more. Has really been important as our team of 11 that we have this year grows from initially a team of state officers all with their own goals and kind of merges into that family that we have now. It's something that's really important, and I'm excited to continue to create that bond with my past team for the next years to come.
Thank you, Carter, our new state president. My name is Alexis White for Ohio AgNet.
And thanks, Alexis White, our student FFA reporter. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Cloud cover keeps a lid on temperatures here the next few days. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. Low pressure sitting just a little bit farther off to our north and east, and we're seeing circulation around the backside of this low. What that's going to do is bring clouds in all the way through today and tomorrow, and I won't rule out additional on-again, off-again precipitation. Scattered showers around. We'll end up with 80 to 90% coverage from today through tomorrow. An additional 1/10 to 3/4 of an inch can happen. Once we get into Wednesday, we're turning out partly sunny and warmer, and we should be dry for the rest of the week. The only place we have to watch is maybe a little bit of renegade activity trying to back in out of West Virginia on Thursday, midday and afternoon. But if we miss that, we're dry on through the end of the week. The weekend is partly sunny with high pressure nearby, and then all of next week is pretty well dry. Have to watch for our next round of moisture probably early Saturday morning the 17th, but it's out of here quickly. By Sunday the 18th, we are partly to mostly sunny, warm, dry, and we keep that pattern going into the week of the 19th. We are expecting some heat-based potential, especially as we move through the middle part of that week, but nothing super well organized as we move through that third week of May. So yeah, overall, I'm still projecting some pretty good drying here. Yes, it's soggy nearby with the rains of the weekend and what we can see continuing to fall today and tomorrow. But once we get to Wednesday, I think we dry down fairly quickly. Evaporation rates nearly at a maximum. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Joining me is Jenny Tower, and if you're talking about recruitment at Wilmington, this is the place to go. Jenny, first of all, you're on day number 2 now as we look at the FFA convention. What kind of questions, and could you tell what age students coming in are asking those questions?
Sure deal. So Day 2, we've had a lot of really great conversations with a lot of different students from all over the state of Ohio. Really, depending on the student, depends on when they want to start that conversation with us. We are working with students as early as their freshman year, sometimes students who are wrapping up their 8th grade year, and I've got students who are seniors that are still trying to figure it out over the course of the next couple of months. Our students have a variety of questions. The biggest ones that I think are important when you're looking for the right fit college is that classroom size, how much attention are they going to get from their faculty, what's that return on investment look like as far as the degrees they're pursuing, what types of scholarships are they going to get for the hard work they put into their high school curriculum, and questions about just the versatility of different degree programs.
When I walked in, 5 young ladies said, "Hi, what are you doing here?" And I said, "I'm here to do an interview with Wilmington College." And they said, "We all went there and we loved it." So it doesn't get much more of an endorsement than walking in and they're already telling me about your program.
Oh, most definitely. It's exciting to see our alumni. It's exciting to see students who visited with us who are committed for the upcoming year. All around, just always a really great event to go to support future agriculturalists, support Wilmington College, and support students going into that area of study.
And you still have open days for people to come in the summer or call and schedule a personal tour, if you will. I got to believe that's really valuable for somebody that's on the edge.
Oh, definitely. The best way to figure out where the best fit to go to college and who's going to be the right fit for you is by visiting a college campus. We have several open houses over the summer still for those students either getting a jump start on their search or wrapping up that search process to figure out where they're going to land this fall. We also do individual visits Monday through Friday every single week. That's a really great opportunity for students who are ready to have that one-on-one conversation, ask specific questions about what they can experience, what they expect to get out of their education, and what they need to do to stay on top of their college search.
Still, the best route to start is wilmington.edu.
Yes, that is it.
And thank you, Jenny Tower, Director of Admissions at Wilmington College. According to DTN, the battle in the trade war that matters most is the one between the United States and China. Handicapping the likely outcome isn't as easy as you might think. China's economy is heavily dependent on exports. The huge tariffs the U.S. is imposing on Chinese products will cause serious economic pain. It's true that the U.S. holds a lot of cards. China sells a lot to the U.S., but the Chinese hold some cards too. The U.S.-China battle is the most important in many ways. Start with the size. These are the two world's largest economies, and they do $583 billion in bilateral trade. The U.S. is $295 billion trade deficit with China is far and away our heftiest. It's important, too, because China is challenging the U.S. position in the world geopolitically, technologically, and economically. Fear of China's dominance of world manufacturing and America's dependence on China's factories is an underlying reason for the war. The battle is certainly important to American farmers and ranchers. China is a huge market with an enormous appetite for foreign agricultural products. The U.S. was China's preferred ag supplier until President Donald Trump's first-term tariffs turned China more to countries like Brazil. This trade war threatens to further erode China's interest in U.S. ag goods. Lately, Trump has indicated he'll lower the China tariffs, though he hasn't said how much. Both sides have started granting exemptions to certain products. There's talk of negotiations, but so far, just talk. Back with more after this.
Get ready to start bidding on a massive variety of heavy equipment and vehicles in the Ritchie Brothers Great Lakes Regional event happening May 14th and 15th. More than 3,700 items will cross the auction block during a one-of-a-kind sale, including everything from truck tractors, van trucks, and trailers to excavators, scrapers, and equipment for construction and landscaping. Registration for this unique unreserved auction is entirely free and open to the public. Visit rbauction.com to learn more. Again, that's rbauction.com.
Whether you're in the fields or on the farm, creating a safer work environment has never been easier. BWC's safety consulting services are included with your policy premiums and offer training and education for everyone in your farming operation. It's always the right time to make safety a priority. Visit bwc.ohio.gov or call 1-800-644-6292. The Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation, here to help you work safely.
Think biodiesel is just another fuel? Think again. Biodiesel is Ohio innovation on the move. Clean, green, and built to keep diesel engines running strong. It's an engine booster, a soybean supporter, and an environmental champion all in one. Every gallon reduces emissions, strengthens Ohio farms, and powers your ride. Drive with purpose. Choose biodiesel. Learn how at soyohio.org. Oil futures fell Friday on expectations of abundant supplies and weak global demand amid increasing concerns about potential recessions in the U.S. economy. Production discipline has led to OPEC sitting on plenty of spare production capacity, some of which can immediately supply additional volumes to the market. The U.S. Energy Information Administration, in its April short-term energy outlook, pegged OPEC spare production capacity at about 4.59 million barrels per day. March had 4.52 million barrels per day. Separately, the Bureau of Labor Statistics on Friday morning reported total non-farm payroll employment rose by 177,000 in April compared to 185,000 reported in February. The figure was above the market expectations of an increase of 133,000. The data shows the unemployment rate at 4.2%, unchanged from March. The number of unemployed was 7.2 million, slightly up from the previous month, and the unemployment rate has remained in a narrow range of 4 to 4.2% since May 24th. And in the dairy industry, the National Milk Producers Federation, U.S. Dairy Export Council, and CADEN, the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce, signed a memorandum of understanding in a milestone step to deepen cooperation between U.S. and Indonesian dairy industries. The memorandum of understanding outlines a framework of collaboration to support enhanced dairy trade, strengthen commercial cooperation, and bolster public nutrition through promoting greater consumption of dairy products, particularly in public programs. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company, excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. For marketing information to LDC for your soybeans, call 574-566-2113. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished in the green on Friday almost everywhere. As we take a look back at the closes on corn, we were down 3 cents or so on old crop, but we did see strength in new crop, strength in old crop and new crop beans, strength in all the wheat markets. The only other place we saw red was in soybean meal and, if you care, in the oats market. So here's what was going on Friday. Job growth was better than expected, so that helped the macro markets a little bit. The Dow responded nicely. S&P, NASDAQ as well. The only place on the outside macro markets that did was crude oil. The crude oil falling off was connected to concerns about future economic performance. As we look at that closely here, it's going to be what happens on consumer confidence and everything else. The jobs data, 177,000 jobs versus 133 that was expected. There was very much a absence of ag-specific news. The correction in the July-December corn spread on Friday and lack of excitement on interior basis at major markets really are not reflecting real concern over existing corn inventories. The bearish spread that's trying to come in here is said to be cautioned against, as industrial and export disappearance will be sizable, but for now, the weather and corn planting progress was probably the biggest story. Picking up some rain over the weekend, we're going to be out of the field in some parts of the Corn Belt for at least a little bit, but dry windows are opening up later this week on into and through next, so planting progress will ramp back up. There was no new flash reported sale activity for the week last week. That highlights the relative weakening of Brazilian FOB soy premiums and deferred corn basis. The global crude oil market cannot shake threats to the U.S. and global economic growth. The GDP negative growth last week that was highlighted really is coming down to roost in the crude oil markets going forward. RBOB was down significantly as well. That's gasoline. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Today's market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Overnight at the open, May corn down 1/4 cent at $4.61. December down a penny at $4.49 1/4 cent. The May beans are down 8 at $10.40 3/4. November down 6 3/4 at $10.23 3/4. July wheat up 2 1/4 at $5.45 1/4 cent. September up a penny and a half at $5.58 1/4. June cattle on Friday closed up $1.45 at $211.10. The Maline hogs were up 55 cents at $92.95. And August feeder cattle up $2.45 to $296.90. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dale Minyo. This is the Ohio AgNet.